Alright, hey guys, this is Tuesday, April 21st. So today's your test day. So basically I'm just going to go over one problem of each type problem because we did our main big review yesterday. So I'm just going to do one problem of each type and then you can take your test. And so the first type problem is just our multiplication rule. So remember, multiply, when you have the same variable, you add your exponents. And so here I have 4y squared plus times 7 times z to the fourth times 3y to the sixth times z to the fourth. And so what I'm going to do is numbers you just multiply. So the 4 and the 3, you're just going to multiply. So 4 times 3 is 12. And then you're going to do the variables. So when we multiply variables, we add exponents. So this will really be y to the second. And then y to the sixth, so you're going to do 2 plus 6. So that would be y to the eighth. And then you're going to do the z. So I have z to the fourth and z to the fourth. So again, multiplying, you add the exponent. And so you do z to the 4 plus 4 will give you z to the eighth. And so 12, y to the eighth, z to the eighth will be your answer. So when we do division, like number 2 up here, you're going to divide the numbers like we always do. But then with the exponents, if the exponents are the same, then you're just going to subtract the exponents. So I'm going to do 10 divided by 5 like we always do. If this number does not, like if you can't actually do the division, then you just reduce that fraction. So if you got a fraction here that you can't do the division on, you just reduce the fraction. What goes in the top number, what goes in the bottom number, reduce it. This we can do, so 10 divided by 5 is 2. And then we have x to the fifth. So you do 5, x to the second, you do 2. So you're going to subtract the exponents, 5 minus 2, and get x to the third. And then you're going to do y to the third divided by y to the fourth. So subtract the exponent, 3 minus 4, and that would be y to the negative 1. Now, that's an appropriate answer. Another type answer, if you remember negative exponent, you just throw it in the denominator. So this answer would also be 2x to the third over y to the first. So either way, if this is a negative exponent, just throw it in the bottom. And so it becomes y to the first and bottom. So either answer there is correct. The next one we're going to do is the factor one. So a factor one is really just a division problem, but you have to look at it and say, okay, what is the what do these terms have in common? So the first thing you're going to look at is the number, and say, okay, I look at this number on number 3. I see a 15, a 10, and a 30. So I want to say, what's the biggest number that'll go into each of those? And so the first thing you do is you want to look at the smallest number and say, can the smallest number go into all the other numbers? If it does, then that's the number you pull out. Here, the smallest number is a 10. 10 will go into 30, but 10 won't go into 15. So that doesn't work. So I have to say, okay, what's the biggest number that will go into 10, 15, and 30? Well, a 5 will go into each of those. So that's going to be what I pull out. So that pulls out the number. Now I'm going to look at the variable. So I'm going to look at my x. I have x to the fifth, which means I have 5 x's. I have x to the third, which means I have 3 x's. And I have x squared, which means I have 2 x's. So what is the biggest one that they all have in common? So they each have 2 in common. And so I can pull out an x squared. So they have to have all of them have at least an x squared. This one has an x to the third, and that one has an x to the third at least, but this one doesn't. That only has 2 of them, so I can only bring out 2 of them. So then you look at the y's. I have a y cubed, y squared, and just a y. So what is the biggest one that each of them have in common? They each have 1 y in common. That's all they have. And so I can bring out a y. Then to figure out what goes in the parentheses, you just do the actual division. So I'm going to do 15 divided by 5, and that is 3. Then I'm going to do x to the fifth divided by x squared, subtract the exponents, and so that is x cubed. Then I'm going to do y to the third divided by y, subtract the exponents, and that gives me y squared. Then I'm going to move to the next term. 10 divided by 5 is 2. X to the cubed divided by x squared is x to the first. Y squared divided by y, 2 minus 1 is 1, so do y to the first. Last term, 30 divided by 5 is 6. X squared divided by x squared, x2 minus x2 would be x to the 0, so it goes away. Then I'm going to do y divided by y, 1 minus 1, y to the 0, so it goes away. And so that would be my answer. So 5x squared y would be x squared y squared plus 2xy plus 6. So again, just bring out, and then once you have this out number, you just do the division. So that will take you through those type problems. Let's see what else I want to go over real quick. Remember like terms, when you add like terms, it has to be the exact same letter. So if we had 10x and we had plus 2x, then since the x is the same, we can just add the 10 and the 2 and get 12x. So if the letter's the same, we can add them and you just count them like you do objects. Real quickly, we'll do a couple dealing with scientific notation, and then do a couple with radicals, and then that should be enough for y'all to take the test. So scientific notation, if they gave you 7.238 times 10 to the 5th, they want us to convert this from the actual scientific notation to the actual number. This number, the number up here, if it's positive, move it to the right. If it's negative, move it to the left. And so for this one, I'm just going to move it 5 times to the right. And so I move it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, fill in the zeros. And so it'd be 723,800. And so that would be the number, the big number, the actual number, not written in scientific notation. So again, if this number is positive, you move it to the right. I'm not going to do one that's negative because you've just been doing the same process, but you move it to the left. And so if that's negative, you move it to the left. That's all that tells you. The last thing to do with those is they'll actually give you a big number or a small number. So they'll give you like 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 0, 0, 0. So they'll give you that big number. So write that in scientific notation. So what you do is you put your imaginary decimal in between the first number and the second number that's not a 0. And so go right here. That's where I'm going to put my imaginary decimal. This is where the actual one is. You always go from the imaginary to the actual, wherever that is. And so you're going to just basically do 1.234. These numbers you write until you get to a 0. So I write the 2, 3, 4, then I got to a 0, so I'll stop. So then I'm going to do times 10 to what power? If I move to the right, it's a positive number. If I move to the left, it's a negative number. We're pretty much just counting the decimal places. And so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I get to where my decimal is in the problem. And so it'd be x to 10 to the 7th. And so again, it's a small number. It works the same way, only you're going to be moving to the decimal to the left. And then it'll be a negative in here. And so those will take you through that. Again, if you need to review the lesson from yesterday, the review lesson, that's where you can get this more in depth. I'm just kind of skimming it for you real quick. So those will take you through that. The last problems we'll deal with radicals. And so remember, if you have like the square root of 17 squared, then what you do is you're going to set up the fraction. You set up, it will become 17, and then you're going to set up the fraction. So this number here becomes the numerator. This number here becomes the denominator. So we can do this one. 2 divided by 2 is just 1. So 17 to the first power will give you an answer of just 17. So we can do that. If we had one like this, we'll do the cube root of x to the, I don't know, we'll do that. So all you're going to do is you're going to take the x, so when you write it as a fraction, it comes down here in the numerator, the 3 goes in the denominator. And then you actually reduce it, x to the 2/3 reduced. So the only thing you have to do really is just work it through to the actual number you can take the square root of or cube root of, take it. Outside of that, you're just going to work it through. So if this, in other words, if this reduces and you can actually get the answer, then get the answer. If this doesn't reduce, like it didn't reduce here, then it's just left in the fraction form. So either way, you're okay there. So that pretty much gets you through the lesson. Again, this was just a quick review since it's been a long time yesterday. And so what I need you to do on the test Again, on the test, the first 7 are true false, so you can use your book, find them, however you want to do it, think it through, and then it goes through the actual test, the problems that was done. So again, yesterday's lesson, if you need to go back and watch that video to get a little bit more review right here, do that. This was just a brief review to make sure we're covered. So I hope you all have a good day and do well.